Carrying a firearm can be pretty intimidating for the most part, especially if you've never done it before, you don't have any idea, you don't really have any friends that have done it, or to give you advice. This is just my 2 cents from the last 2 years of basically carrying every single day. To start out, you really need 3 items. A handgun, something that's sturdy, reliable. I run a Glock 19, that's what I recommend for most people. A Glock 19 or maybe a Glock 45, the 45 model, not caliber. Okay, then the second thing is gonna be a sturdy belt. A sturdy belt is gonna maintain your rig is held in position and it's not shaking around, it's not loose, and it just makes it all that more comfortable. The third thing is a good holster from a reputed manufacturer. I run a T-Rex Arms holster. I recommend that to anybody else. Tier 1 Concealed, I've heard, is great, and there's a bunch of other ones out there. For the most part, you're gonna spend a lot on a holster. It's gonna seem like more than you wanna spend. Usually they're $100, $150 plus. If you're not spending in the 80 to higher price, it's probably not going to be that good for you, especially when it's appendix and it's pointing out in front to your junk potentially, or even to the rear. You don't want to have any random fires that go off inside of your holster. So once you found the gun you like, the holster, and a good solid belt from any of the manufacturers that you wish, you'll find the ones you like. You'll probably buy more than one. I know I bought a few more than and I didn't like it. It's all trial and error. It's just like wearing a watch. When you wear a watch for the first time, it feels uncomfortable, it's shaking around. You gotta adjust the bands to make it fit right. Some people want it really tight, some people like it loose. It all depends on what is comfortable for you. I prefer the appendix inside the waistband. It's the most comfortable carry for me. I can still bend over, I can still sit in my car just fine. It's not up against my back. And personally, at the 3 o'clock carry here, which this T-Rex Arms holster also can do if you remove the mag carrier, I have a hard time getting it reholstered. It always just never felt comfortable to me, and I'm not a fan. If you're a fan of that, cool. For the most part, you can get the same speed of draw, but appendix is going to be easier to do and in a more defensive position. It's just kind of right here in front of you. You can hurdle up and tuck it away if that were ever to happen to you. Most of the rigs you're going to see are going to have 2 clips like these guys. These ones are plastic. I also run the metal ones from time to time. This one also is a sidecar, so it does have a magazine slot, which is nice. Another big thing that most people do not adhere to is this wing. This wing is adjustable. It can run all the way up front, all the way up back, or in the middle of these slots. There's multiple different positions for them. Depending on how big or small you are, you may want it tighter to your body to be able to wrap around and conceal better. So make sure you play around with the adjustments and get the ride height that you want and is most desirable for you. Now where the real fun starts is drawing the handgun. Nothing really matters if you can't draw in a relatively quick time and be accurate and be efficient. So when something happens, you can be predictable, and off of your prior experience, you kind of just do the shooting in the background, I like to say. I hear Matt Prankus say that all the time. When the shooting happens, the shooting needs to be in the background, and you need to be focusing on actually what's going on and just let the shooting happen. It's the same as if you've been driving for 5 years and somebody were to be chasing you on the freeway. You're going to be thinking about where they are and where your next step is. You don't really have to think about how much force you're putting on the gas pedal or the brakes or how much you're turning. You're just going, and the driving is in the background. Now for the draw, when clearing your garment, I always like to grab up higher. Some people grab here and they pull straight up. Not usually good because it can kind of get stuck on your butt. I usually grab right in between the top of the gun and the pistol or the pistol magazine, and then just pull up. You can either kind of do a scoop, which gets most of it clear anyway, and then pull it straight up a little bit more than that. So now the gun is cleared. I'm gonna bring my right hand, and I'm not gonna dig my thumb under. I'm also not gonna do one of these belly out things. I'm just gonna grab on top here, and this will allow me to pick up and then present at a high angle here. See how high my thumb is? Okay, and then present. Now you're gonna wanna reholster nice and slow, make sure there's no garment there. You don't wanna slam it back, but some people wanna go real slow, all right? You don't have to do that every time, all right? As long as you're looking at and you make sure there's no debris If you're shooting in a class or a big range, sometimes ammo can fall in there as there's somebody shooting to your left. So it is a possibility, or your shirt gets caught in there. All right, the reload. Once it comes down to either you have a magazine malfunction, really a stovepipe, any type of pistol malfunction, or you just ran out, which is why it's nice to have a spare magazine, okay? Running a spare magazine can either be attached to your holster, you can have it on the side. Some people have it separated, it's all personal preference. If you want one, great. If you don't, great. Carry what you like. Just know that you're losing some advantages and you're gaining others as far as lighter weight, but now you don't have a reload, okay? It's up to you. So now that that gun has ran dry and you're shooting and boom, you get a slide lock, okay? You're gonna hit that magazine release, drop that magazine, and at the same time, grab your reload, okay? You wanna have your index finger at the top of that magazine. That's gonna allow you to give a good index point to your fingers. And most of the time, it just helps to navigate that right in. Obviously, sometimes it gets stuck, okay? It's all comes with practice, and you're gonna slam it on in there, okay? You don't gotta do any of this tug stuff. It's not an AR. If it goes in and you hear that click and you give it a good slam with an open slide, it's gonna lock into place. Now you have two options. You can either hit the slide release here or come over the top. I prefer the slide release. I think it's a lot easier. Some people prefer over the top. Whatever you want to practice, okay? That's kind of up to you and your training.